Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the mashup.
I'm just gonna wait for it to quiet out a little bit.
Welcome to the Mashup.
But sometimes life just goes to bad for you. Sometimes things just coalesce. These don't always have to be rants about what's wrong in the world. Sometimes things are very, very right. So there was a Cornerstone Forum this weekend, and Jamie Sinclair's coming in, and he's coming in from Saskatchewan. And so I tell him I need some Bohemian. And he says, cool, I got you covered. I'm bringing up 6 cases. Perfect. Well, he grudgingly spared one, and I managed to get that one from him. But here's the interesting thing. You look at this. The whole case was like that. Look how full that bottle is. I don't know who's working at Bohemian that's just like topping these bottles right to the very fucking tip. But well done. This is probably the same guy who, when he worked at McDonald's, put 11 nugs in every box. And so whoever you are working at Bohemian, thank you. Thank you. It's the little things that matter.
11 nugs in the box. Yes. We all,
This
know,
is the
you're
11.
you're
This is the
counting
11
them out.
nug ball.
You're like, did I just get 11? That guy needs a raise,
And
That's-
this is the same beer. And so whoever you are at Bo, here's to you, and here's to Jamie.
Hey,
John's.
welcome to Mashup 158, folks. It is the first time since we did the 12-hour live stream that I've made consecutive mashups, and that I feel like I'm actually normal today. I've been a shell of myself, it feels like, for a few weeks, twos. And I've been getting a few texts that I look tired and things, and I'm like, well, probably. I mean, we've been going really hard.
You gotta get this stuff. You gotta get the eye goop.
You got to get the Chris Sims eye goop to make you look like.
Well, it's not the Chris Sims eye goop. It's the Chris Sims
Oh,
recommendation.
well, we're calling it the Chris Sims eye goop from now on.
I'm not calling it the
I'm
Chris
calling
Sims
it that.
eye
It's the
goop.
Chris Sims eye goop. Mashup 158. How's everybody
You're an
doing on
idiot.
Friday? I'm not an idiot. You're an idiot. Yeah.
I'm
Before
doing
we,
great.
I'm,
I'm doing great, and it's good to hear that you're doing well as well.
yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Mashup 158. Before we get rolling into any of the day today, make sure you're watching on X. Hit the retweet button. I like, share, wear your Gunslinger Mashup shirt proudly. Man, you know how cool it was to walk around. So, quick little story. We're setting up on Friday.
Mhm.
And of course, we got these brand new T-shirts, and I'm putting them out, or Mel's putting them out, and Mel's like, "These are so stupid. Nobody's gonna buy these, right?" And I'm like, "Well, if nobody buys them, I have my wardrobe for the rest of the year." And the first guy to walk by before the events even started, this is the night before, he goes, "That is a kick-ass shirt." Buys it. Then the next guy walks by. No, lady, apologies. "I can't wait to rep one of those." And Mel's like, "Oh my God, fine, you win." And we walking around the show, walking around the Cornerstone Forum, seeing the Gunslinger rooster everywhere. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, you have an idea, you build this idea out. Shout out to Donna Baby for making them on short order. She's fantastic. And like, they're just, they're super cool shirts.
They are. You're absolutely right. Like, there was a whole lot of people who were like, "Hey, look what I got. Look what I got." Like, I've never met Josh Allen before the Cornerstone. He comes up, he's like, "Hey, Twos, what do you think?" And I'm like, "Well, you look a lot better in it than I would," because I hadn't even got mine yet.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just I went up to just go get one, and because I wanted to wear one during the day, and so I go up to the booth, but nobody's around there. And then there's just this lineup of people politely waiting for someone to show up to buy those shirts. And that was the other thing. I don't know if you noticed this or not, but at the trade show part of it, the whole upper mezzanine, when people wanted to go to the bathroom or get something to eat or drink or just go, they didn't put a blanket over their table. They didn't do any sort of, "Hey, can you just watch this while I'm gone?" They just left. It was just this high trust, mutual understanding that no one's going to try and steal your book or whatever it was. I thought that was cool. Are you still
honestly,
with us?
Yeah, I'm still here. the thing about it was, you have this idea. So we did the Cornerstone Forum. For those of you who don't know, it's my annual event. It's conference style, so it's one day. It's full. It starts at 9 a.m. It goes till 9 p.m. essentially is when the event shut down. It's got lunch and supper and a whole cast of characters on stage speaking, keynotes, roundtable forums, and it was cool to get everybody's feedback after the event, because like one of the things that um was just amazing was seeing all the people come together. I think that's a huge chunk of it, or maybe the biggest part is the community that comes in there, and just seeing them all light up as different speakers came. I was just telling you before I started, I got to, and here I'm going to put it on the ticker on the bottom. That's what I was doing. If you go to Sean Newman Podcast at Substack, the entire forum's up. It's broken into 4 parts, and you can go watch. The one I was telling Too's about was Chuck Prodnick, who's been on the podcast lots, and you go watch his keynote speech, and you're like, it was phenomenal. It got a standing O. Second year in a row, Chuck Prodnick's got a standing O for his keynote speech, and it's just a story of being ambushed in Afghanistan. Just the way he lays it out, everything about it. I was texting him this morning because I'm like, I finally got to watch it. Part of my role there isn't to pay attention to everything on stage from like what they're talking about. It's more the timing and making sure everything runs smoothly. And I've been getting to go back and watch all the speakers' talks. Now I'm taking, walking back. Oh man, there's a ton of just great stuff. And of course, Two's got to host one of the roundtables. So
yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. We got Katie coming live on location from
you want to go to Katie?
Farm.
Okay.
Well, I don't know how long we got her for. So
okay, well, before we get to Katie, let's just say Happy Airborne Friday, Jamie Sinclair. You brought him up. Happy Airborne Friday to all the military boys out there. We appreciate you being at the show, speaking at the show, attending the show, and then of course watching this show. A ton of time for the Canadian military. We know more and more as we go along. So a shout out to all those boys on an Airborne Friday. Okay, we had a guest coming in from BC. Katie, I'm about to butcher your name. Is it Pasnitsny?
Pasitny.
Yeah. Welcome to the show where Sean butchers names. How are you doing today?
Every day it's a loaded question, but we're holding in there. We're hanging in there. We're just not giving up the fight. As we stand, the cull order of our animals is active. So we are fighting that with hopefully an emergency stay order, an appeal. We were at the RDCK regional district office for all of our landfills up here because they had been approached about taking all of our carcasses of our healthy animals. We had a win there yesterday. They were absolutely amazing. And by chance, they put forth a motion and they all were in favor of it, that no RDCK, which is just the regional district up by Castlegar and here that has got contacted, no RDCK landfills will accept the carcasses of our healthy ostriches without retesting. So they're saying that they have to be retested, which we don't have any of that data because we've been restricted with the threat of 6 months in jail and $250,000 fine if we test our own animals. So we're just pushing forward. It's been a lot. It's been 5 months. 5 months almost.
Katie, could you do the audience favor, even myself a favor? I've been reading the news articles on it. I told you that I'd watched one of your interviews, but let's just assume there's people tuning in this morning that just need to be brought up to speed. What is going on the ostrich farm?
So we've been fighting a cull order that was given to us December 31st. They signed the cull order. We had January 2nd. We fought that with trying to do an exemption. January 2nd, we were told we had special rare genetics, which somehow we didn't qualify for somehow. Special rare genetics, January 2nd. January 2nd, we also had a huge 5.5-hour meeting where they wanted to tell us to disclose all of our intellect property to save our farm. We disclosed everything. At the end of that, they gave us an exemption package, which was extremely misleading. It was a not appropriate exemption package for us. It was a commercial poultry facility exemption package. We told them we cannot fill this exemption package out. It's for turkeys, ducks, chickens, and geese. And we said, there's no ostrich on here. So can we please have a different exemption package? They said, no, fill out this exemption package. Even if you have to put no on everything, just fill out this exemption package. And then we will we'll take that and we'll make our decision. Well, no, on January 10th, they made that decision after that exemption package was filled out so inappropriately because we couldn't fill it out honestly. We did it honestly, but you couldn't fill it out accurately. We got the cull order we were supposed to kill all of our own animals by ourselves and dispose of them by February 1st. So we took to finding a lawyer. So we found a lawyer. Fought that. We won an injunction and which is a stay order on January 31st, right before February 1st, which we would have been in non-compliance of killing our own animals. We won a stay order and we won a judicial review, which we just went through April 15th and 16th. This is all based off 2 controversial PCR tests that were taken off 2 of our deceased animals with absolutely that we've met with nothing but resistance to test. More than half of our farm has never been, no symptoms, no deaths. So we said to them, can we test our healthy animals? No. Can we test the ones that have been symptomatic and recovered? No. And then that's where that 6 months in jail and $250,000 fine comes through. If we do test any of our own animals to prove to the public health and safety, we could face those things. So,
sorry, pardon me for interrupting. But they have decided that it's illegal for you to do a wellness check on your animals.
Absolutely. Not only wellness check in there, citing that in their own policy, you're not allowed to treat your own animals. So you can't treat them now. You can't test them. And that's, it's absolutely absurd. Imagine how bad that would look on a global scale, because stamping out is being used everywhere. I don't know if this is the same policy across the US or whatnot, but if you can't even treat your animals that you've been experts with, you've been experts we've been experts with ostrich for decades now. So they're not consulting the experts. They're coming in with an iron fist. They're coming into people's properties. In our policy, in the Canadian Food Inspection policy, you don't even need test. They don't have to test your animals to kill all your animals. They can come on your property based on suspicion and kill all of your animals. So imagine though, we're back to treating them. Imagine if all farmers just, you have a sick animal, you know how to take care of them. You would give them an anti-inflammatory or something to break a fever, but you can't treat them anymore. So all your animals are going to die faster. They're going to look sicker. Someone drives by. They're not giving us the opportunity to get ahead of it ourselves, but they were fine with treating us as experts enough to handle the virus, whatever they say that we have here, handle it, kill all of those animals by our own hand and bury them back in our hayfield. So we were experts to do that, but we're not experts enough to treat or test our own animals. They go off trading partner policy. They say that is one of the biggest things that they're honoring trading partner policies, for our trades. We haven't affected that at all. I mean, we're still trading. We're okay. Stamping out, it sounds like a really strong word. They say they're stamping out the virus. They're going and they're getting ahead of it. They're not. They're stamping out natural immunity. Natural immunity has been, got us to where we are today. I mean,
did you actually go to a government agency in Canada and use the words natural immunity? This is exactly why you're in this situation.
Yeah, I know. No,
you're questioning the validity of a PCR test, talking about natural immunity, and wanting to treat things your own rather than use the government mandated treatment. I think I can tell what's going on here.
Well, there's something even bigger. No, so we specialize here in the last 3 to 4 years. We work with antibodies. So the ostriches, they get given an antigen for different things, and it's just the dead virus. This is not a vaccination. But then they build antibodies. 4 weeks later, the antibodies go into an ostrich egg. We extract the antibodies, and we're creating nutraceuticals. So we're contending with the vaccinations, bringing something healthier to animal and human health. And we actually have scientific data and proof, which is where I think has led us up to this, that we could even neutralize COVID-19. So the COVID-19 variant,
That's it right there. That's it.
Yeah, it's put a pretty big target on our back. While they were here, Canadian Food Inspection Agency, on one of their visits, they're here under the basis of avian influenza, and we have it on film with them asking us, where do you store your COVID-19 antibodies? So we're like, why would you want our COVID-19 antibodies? We're dealing with avian influenza, aren't we? And they said, we are coming for any byproduct and anything to do with ostrich will be destroyed on your farm. So we're, look at our judicial review we had on April 15th and 16th. They flew in a judge from Ottawa to Vancouver.
From Ottawa.
Yeah.
What the hell does some judge in Ottawa know about farms? This is the whole like jury of your peers thing that drove me crazy about the Coots people and the 12 gauge and the 22 that was him carrying around firearms. Is that you're not really, I find it highly unlikely that somebody who's a judge in Ottawa knows the first damn thing about this thing that he's presiding over. And if he actually did, he probably would have been ostracized from Ottawa to begin with.
Yep. No, and so we were met. Obviously, it took 3 weeks almost after our judicial review to get that verdict. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency had 4 lawyers up front fighting and 1 in the galley. So they had 5 lawyers present. We had 2. Now they're trying to stick us with their legal bills, $15,000 worth of the Canadian Food Inspection Agency legal bills. We found out some more. There's definitely more sinister stuff happening here, which is bringing the world together. That's why this is going across the world, because the ostrich are the perfect catalyst to bring opportunity and change and awareness to this, because they're 300-pound prehistoric animals that have lived on this earth. They've survived for 70 million years. And, they hold a very important key to healing the world. And they do not want that exposed, but people have kind of just, if it was another cow or another pig or another chicken, I don't think people would pay attention. But because it's just such a unique animal, we're getting a lot of attention, and it's shaking, it's rattling the cages. It's making everybody more awake and see what's going on here. You cannot connect the dots to anything. They have misled us. They are burying us in paperwork. They're using up our resources legally. They're trying to sink us rather than work with us. And all we're doing is educating, bringing awareness of their policy to all Canadian farmers. The Canadian farmers, and I know on a global scale with the stamping out, everybody is scared. Because if we just keep eradicating the genetic diversity among everybody's farms, we're seeing farmers give up. They're getting tired. They're saying, well, this doesn't make sense. So I can kill all my animals, and then I can bring back a whole bunch of young ones that are still exposed to migratory animals. And that's going to save the world, because those animals are still exposed to migratory flocks, which are the migratory birds are passing around avian influenza. So those young naive immune system animals are going to catch something faster. And the immune system in the young animals can mutate. The virus can mutate them a lot faster. But we're killing off our herd immunity, and we're fighting for awareness across the world that we're gonna fall into a catastrophic failure in all of that, in that system down the road. They're looking here. They're not looking down the road. And down the road, we're going to be faced and met with some real challenges on both the human and animal scale.
If people are watching, Katie, well, obviously they are. Is there anything that Canadians or people abroad, for that matter, can do? You mentioned that they're trying to make you pay for legal bills. I saw, read one article where people were showing up to the farm to protest and help stand with the farm. Is there things people can do that are watching from abroad, or maybe in BC, we got viewership across the country. Is there things people can do to help support this?
Absolutely. So we say you can pray. Prayers are always good, and lots of positive, loving energy for the farm and all other farmers around the world. You can go to saveourostriches.com. That allows you to go through a whole bunch of our different interviews and everything that we've done. Meet some of our ostriches. They're on there. And we have all of our donation links on there to help us with our legal costs to fight this battle, but not just for our farm, but for everybody else. As well as go to media. Go wherever you are in your city or your town, go to media. Tell them that you want them to follow this case. You can come visit us at the farm. It's 301 Langill Road, Langille Road. We have about over 100 supporters here right now, camped out, and where people are coming in from all across the country and continue to. So we're just letting people know that the people's voice matters, and you can support this farm, supporting all the other farms across the world right now.
Okay. And saveourostriches.com?
Yeah, was it Save Our Ostriches with an S at the end?
Yeah.
.com. All right. We'll toss that up here on a ticker, folks. There. I believe I got that right, but
that is right. Yeah.
If people want to go to the website, that's probably the easiest thing, because all the information will be there, I assume.
It is. Yeah. And please feel free to contact us if you have. There's lots of people, putting out different information. Always come back to the source. Get a hold of us. I'm taking lots of emails, lots of calls, and happy to answer any questions.
Twos, before we let her out, first, Katie, thanks for hopping on and doing this. Any other thoughts, Twos, or questions before we let her out?
Basically, I really hope that when this is all said and done, you're able to flip these bureaucrats the bird.
I love it. There's been lots of those puns going around lately. Kill two birds with one stone. Let's deal with And
just a dumb question on ostriches. Are they? I've always I don't know a whole lot. That when you talked about if it was just another cow or a chicken, right? People can. I agree with that. Yeah. Ostriches, what are they like on the farm? Because I was watching the video and I'm like, I've always been told these are mean animals. I take it that is not the case.
They are. No, they can be very aggressive, especially the ones that are are males that are in breeding season. They can be very aggressive. You have to have a really good relationship with these animals. Like for my mom and anybody to walk out amongst them, it's taken years of that trust with them. But they have personalities. They're really funny. They peck a lot. They peck really hard. They are, they're flightless, big. They're red meat animals, which is kind of interesting. Always a fact people are shocked by. But they have personalities, and almost all of them are named, believe this or not. And they live, like our oldest hen out there is 35 years old. So it goes into
is that about the life expectancy?
No, they can live up to 70 years.
An ostrich can live up to 70 years old.
But 50 is like, just life and animals.
Yeah.
And is usually what is average, but they can live up to 70. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Somebody in the comments was asking if you have a mailing address.
Yes, we do. It's the same address I gave you, 301 Langill Road, Langille Road, VOG1JO.
Is that on the website as well, Katie?
I think it is. We've had somebody just redo it. I'll have to double check, but
okay. I always go the easiest thing for people, they're probably scrambling, trying to write things down, assuming that's where the question. Yeah.
Go to Facebook and you can go to Katie Pasitny. And I'll add the address just in the comments and stuff there as well. But we're doing lives and updates all the time as things happen. And if we are prepared for if they do come here to try to start the cull order.
Well, now that you have my number, Katie, if there is breaking news out that way, certainly we'd welcome you back on the show and bring people up to speed. We appreciate you giving us some time this morning and make it fit into, I'm sure, a hectic schedule on your side, but anything we can do to help, please just reach out.
Yeah, I really appreciate you guys and all of your audience. Thank you for helping to bring awareness to what's going on, and let's help save our farmers across the world.
Thanks, Katie.
Best of luck with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, you guys.
You too.
Okay, well, there's. I mean, can we get more of the story than right from sitting on the farm? I don't think so. Twos. That's well spoken and well said. So there it is. That's the updated ostrich. I don't know, gate scandal thing. I'm sure Twos has a pun sitting somewhere in his head that he'll spit out at some point. Either way, we want to go back to Coots 6.5. I assume.
Sure. All right.
Okay. Well, we do the Coots 6.5 every week, folks. Pointing out some things in our judicial system. And here's the latest. Stephen Henry Hall, 30, is charged with robbery and breach of probation for the axe attack on Tuesday near East Hastings and Main Street, according to Vancouver police. But despite being on probation, Hall was granted bail in Vancouver Provincial Court within a few hours of Tuesday's attack. He was released without having to post cash bail and is scheduled to appear in court on May 27th. 50-year-old man bleeding from the face approached officers around 12:30 p.m. on Tuesday and told them he had been hit with a small axe by a stranger who then stole his sunglasses. It then says the victim's injuries were minor. He was hit in the face with a bloody axe.
Well, it was a hatchet, but they said small axe, I think, because they assume that no one's smart enough to know what a hatchet is. But yeah,
it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal.
In April, he pled guilty to uttering threats. Second charge of possessing a weapon was stayed. He was spared jail and instead got 12 months probation. While in his early to mid 20s, between 2017 and 2021, he appeared before downtown community court and provincial courts in a whole bunch of different places on charges including assault with a weapon, theft, mischief, break and enter, resisting arrest, several breaches of probation orders, and he had gone almost 3 years without any charges until October, where he was jailed for 30 days for several charges laid in relation to breaking into a house. He was bitten by a police dog after resisting arrest. Like this guy's just got a crazy rap sheet. We just let him out. Oh, he's got a great plan for a new crime. He's going to hatch it. And this guy just, hey, you know what? I mean, like he's a fucking attempted axe murderer. He hit a guy in the face with a hatchet while robbing him of sunglasses.
It shouldn't be funny, but at this point, this many mashups in, this is every week we have a new one of these. It's not even hard to believe anymore. This is just where we're at. And it seems like Vancouver, we'll get to Vancouver in a bit. Tariffs.
Actually, real quick, before we get too far down the road.
Okay.
We've got a signed copy of Axing the Tax.
Speaking of axes,
Franco
okay.
Terrazzano. Yes. Very, very timely, very timely transition there. So we've got a signed copy of Axing the Tax by Franco Terrazzano, and we need to give it away to somebody.
Oh, really?
Franco was.
Oh, really? Interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I already have one.
And you have an extra to give away.
And I have an extra one.
Well, you didn't tell me this.
You didn't ask.
I shouldn't be surprised. I walk in, I lay all my cards out for the day for twos. What does he do? He hides things from me and then surprise. All right.
It was
fine.
sitting here the whole time.
Okay. Number 5, then fine. You wanna sign copy, fifth person to text me, and we'll just make sure.
Yep. So just here's the thing though, when you're texting in, just follow the instructions on the screen, folks.
All right.
The fifth person to text in with their favorite Taylor Swift song lyrics to 587-217-8500. Favorite Taylor Swift lyrics to 587-217-8500.
All right.
Wins this book.
Twos is having fun this morning. I was trying to find my signed copy. I don't know where I maybe have it at home. Anyways, I got a signed copy from Franco as well. Okay. Well, I'm waiting for text to come in. Name and where you're listening from is what I want. Twos wants your favorite Taylor Swift lyric tossed in there. That's probably confusing everyone because the phone is silent right now. They're just like, Taylor Swift? I don't know. I'm just assuming that's what's happening right now. I'll leave it up, and when we get our fifth in on the text line, we will we'll announce a winner. Okay, tariffs. Let's bring up the timeline here. Bingo here. Okay, so do you want to walk through this? You want me to read the timeline? Do you want me to read the timeline?
Read the timeline.
Okay,
It's
so
a little bit too small to see on your screen.
sure.
Well, maybe that's just because I've got it windowed. But just yeah, go ahead and read that out.
Okay, so here it's March 27th. PM Mark Carney declares that Canada's trading relationship with the United States is over, irrevocably broken. Then on March 4th, it said the United States surtax order takes effect, 25% surtax on $30 billion of U.S. consumer goods. Then on March 13th, United States surtax order on steel and aluminum, 25% surtax on U.S. steel, aluminum, and selected industrial inputs. On April 9th, United States surtax order motor vehicles, 25% surtax on cars and light trucks with non-Canadian content. April 16th, the United States April 16th, the United States surtax remission order signed and comes into force, granting wide remission waiver of the above surtaxes. So everything I just said, it's got remission waiver. April 28th, the federal election, Liberals reelected under Mark Carney. And then May 7th, both remission orders are published in the Canada Gazette, Part 2, revealing the tariff rollback to the broader public.
Yes. So, I mean, I don't know how to put this more clearly, but basically, Tools was right from the start about the fact that this was purposely driven as being a wedge issue to paint Trump as the big bad guy, to give the Liberals something to fight against because that's the only thing the Liberals know how to do. And meanwhile, in the background, they actually rescinded all of these tariffs before the election. The election happens, and then 2 weeks later, they announced that they had been rescinded, despite the fact that it's almost a month after the fact at that point. So for those of you, we probably don't have a lot of viewers here who were bamboozled. But for those of you who have relatives in Ontario and fucking Quebec, maybe just drop them a line and let them know that they've been bamboozled.
For the Franco Terrazzano book, not a Swiftie, Lisa Ferguson listening from Athabasca. So
well, then she didn't win. That's not a valid entry.
Lisa,
sorry, Lisa, I'm not going to send you this damn book at all.
Well, I'm telling her she won. You won, Lisa.
Well,
and
tell you what, I'm the man with the book. I want to hear.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying, Lisa, you won. Okay. Sorry, Twos. She not a Swiftie.
Oh, you know what? Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that ballot will not be counted.
Okay. Recount. Talking about ballots. Let's talk about the recount. For a while, I just had on Vesper. He broke this down very well.
Yes,
but for
which
people
was
who
a dick move, because I was really looking forward to talking about it, and then no, you guys got to it first. And I'm like, that Vesper, that son of a bitch.
For a while, the razor thin election night.
By the way, just real quick about Vesper.
Are you gonna keep interrupting me? Like, oh man.
I just
we're back, folks. Where Twos just hops in whenever he feels. I'm trying to read. Nope, we're not gonna read. Okay, yeah.
Okay,
sure,
I just need to clear up a couple things before we get into it, and that's all. I'm not trying to be like, hey, I have a better point than you to make.
Well,
I just
it's
want to
not
clear
a point.
some
I'm
stuff
gonna read the story
before we get going.
Vesper,
Sean, you jackasses! If you're talking about something that is a seminal piece of literature that was later made into a movie, you talk about the seminal piece of literature. You don't be like, oh, there was this line in V for Vendetta. No, there was this line in the seminal graphic novel V for Vendetta. Not the movie, the seminal graphic novel.
Are we back, folks? I feel like we're back. Mashup just feels like it's got a little something happening today.
The abridged Reader's Digest version of a novel.
If you haven't listened to the Vesper episode, go back to
thing.
yesterday. Go back and listen to me and Vesper, and you can hear what Twos is all fired up about. Can I get to the story? Can I actually get to reading the article, or are you just going to go one off?
Please
Hey.
proceed, Sean.
But yeah, for a while, the razor-thin election night outcome in Terrebonne, a riding just north of Montreal, struck many Canadians as an example of the system working as it should. Liberal Tatiana Auguste was initially declared the winner by just 35 votes. Standard validation procedure flipped the riding to the bloc by 44 votes, and then a judicial recount triggered it automatically because the outcome was so close. Less than 0.1% of the turnout found Auguste had won by a single vote. And then it goes on to say, turns out Elections Canada put the wrong return postal code on at least some of the mail-in ballots that it sent out. At least one was returned to center, and it was a vote for the incumbent bloc, which would mean, as Vesper pointed out yesterday, we'd have a tie.
Yes. Except also breaking news. I just saw people talking about it on Twitter this morning, but don't have any details on it yet. But apparently there are at least 5 of these votes right now. And I think it's safe to assume that they're all block votes, because if you were a Liberal voter and your person won by this one vote, the last thing you want to do is be like, oh, yeah, there was more ballot fuckery going on. You just want things to just stay as they are. Nope, no. Yep, I'm just going to stay silent about this. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. But there are at least 5 votes out there now that presumably are for the block. Yeah, interesting thing. I'm actually kind of surprised Vesper didn't get into this because, you know, he lives in fucking Quebec. He knows the language. But this is the riding of Terrebonne. Okay, so Terra means earth and bone means to bone. So we have a riding in Quebec called Fuck the Earth in French. You don't have to fact check that. It's definitely true.
Carol Scholes
Anyway.
says, I'm sure you boys are brothers. Yeah, brothers from different mothers.
Yep, brother from another mother.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, here's the interesting thing is we paid about $25 per vote. Like every time, actually, sorry, I think it was like $30. About $30 per vote. So every time a vote got counted in this election, it's, oh, here's one for these people. Okay, here's $30. Here's one for these people. Here's $30. We're paying $30 per vote. Now, the first couple recounts, or the first couple, this is outdated. It's still been updated since this tweet. But there were 60,204 ballots, 903 rejected ballots, total 61,107. And then during the recount, there was 61,118. So it's not as though they looked at the ballots and, oh, actually, this one actually says Liberal, and this one is rejected, and this one actually says Bloc. The actual number of ballots changes with the recount. And there were at least 2 recounts. I want to say 3, and they varied widely. You'd think that, you know, if you're trying to figure out, I don't know, how many joints are in the stand, you might be off by 1. Somebody's maybe off by like 2 or 3 or forgot a row or something like that. And then when you count them again, you're closer. You get it right. These are just, why don't the recounts go? First off, if we're paying $30 a vote, why aren't any of the counts consistent? And secondly, why don't we keep recounting till we start duplicating the results? Okay, the original one says that the Liberals won. The recount says the Bloc won. The next recount says the Liberals won. Okay, why don't we just keep doing recounts till the numbers are consistent? Okay,
we've recounted it 20 times. It all comes out the same. X won by this many votes.
Instead of just being like, well, the first
it sounds like common sense again.
First, 7th, 9th, and 14th times we did it, these people won. A bunch of the other ones, other guys won, and a few times it was a tie. So we are just going to go with whatever Mark Carney told us is what it looks like. And this is the whole Tuesday's right of the week thing again. Do you remember when we were talking about the recounts and the lack of transparency in the BC election? Correct. And I said, these things need some blockchain.
I do recall.
And now What's everybody talking about? Why do we have blockchain? Why do we have blockchain? Let's throw in some blockchain. You know what would be a great idea? How about some blockchain for our votes?
I can't wait to give credit to somebody else other than Twos.
So anyway, you heard it here first.
Ah, man. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Arsonist of the week, RCMP in Redwater, Alberta, have recently have released details on the arrest in a disturbing case related to the out-of-control wildfire burning in Sturgeon County, north of Edmonton. Police said on Friday that they have arrested a man who is accused of tampering with a sprinkler that was being used to protect homes in the evacuation area near the Redwater Provincial Recreation Area. The RCMP said officers were conducting patrols in the area when they noticed a man who appeared to be trespassing. Upon further investigation, they learned the man appeared to be tampering with the sprinkler systems, rendering them inactive.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna have to update the headline for this. So it says arsonist extremist of the week. But here's the thing: is that in their particular, the climate is dying, and we need to do everything we can to stop it, including burning down everything that pulls carbon dioxide out of the air. Follow that logic for a second. This isn't really this isn't really an extremist thing. We had at least a half dozen of these stories last summer during the wildfires.
Yes, we did.
And then everybody says, oh, it's climate change. You're like, no, motherfucker. It's the person with the gas can and the matches in the boreal forest.
Yeah.
So anyways, I'm looking forward to arson season again this year.
Yeah, they just need to arrest the person and
not let them out on bail.
Maybe make an example of them, you know, like
look,
do this.
I get it. We all love our firefighters and we do everything we can to support them. But job creation in that industry isn't really what it should be.
Green tech. Let's move on to Honda. Honda, green tech can't exist without taxpayer greenbacks of the week. Honda announced on Tuesday that it has postponed a $15 billion electric vehicle project, citing market demand, and it's shifting some production of its popular CR-V model intended for the U.S. market to its Ohio plant because of tariffs. Industry Minister Melanie Joly says Honda Canada remains fully...
Well, that's what she said. That's
fully,
what she said.
Fully committed to major...
That's not what they said. They said it was because of reduced demand.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, real quick. Eileen says it's not arson, it's climate change. Eileen, if I recall correctly, I told you that we didn't have any shirts left in your size first thing in the morning because I didn't know that there was a whole bunch more underneath the table.
Correct.
I just thought what was on the rack was there.
No, Twos can't find the intro music to the mashup, folks. He couldn't find a giant box of shirts underneath the table.
Twos wasn't looking for it. Twos just goes up to get his own shirt, and there's all these people politely waiting to buy them.
Sean got these brand new gunslinger shirts. It's kind of weird that he only bought like 15. Yeah, we're sold out already. Yeah, I thought it was.
Does that
sound like something Sean would do?
That's the problem, Sean, is that it absolutely does.
Oh, does it? Does it? Interesting. Now the truth's coming out. Okay, fair. Eileen, we're sorry for Twos. Okay, we'll make sure he doesn't run the booth ever again.
We can just follow up with one of us, and we can get you decked out. And anybody else who I told that we were out of your size, I'm sorry.
Is an idiot.
I didn't know. This is not a Twos is an idiot. This is Twos jumping in to try and help people out randomly and not being is an idiot. It's inapplicable to this situation, Sean.
We all know the Twos should have just been like, geez, there's probably, I should just take a look.
Well, I was like, how the hell did he spend that much damn money on these shirts?
Something doesn't add up here. Maybe I should just look around.
What's wrong with this?
Maybe I should just look around. Nope. We're sold out.
Oh my God. Like, where is it? Where is it? It's like the Green Slush Fund money.
Alive. Yeah,
right.
Just pocketing it.
I just want to point out that Melanie Joly, who is this minister who's deliberately misquoting Honda to try and save face that you're talking about right here.
Correct.
Welcome to the Honorable Melanie Joly, Minister of Industry and Minister responsible for Canadian economic development for Quebec regions. The federal government has a minister in charge of placating the whiners in fucking Quebec. They have an actual ministry of that. Is there a minister for Canadian economic development for Manitoba? No. It's just always like, what do we have to give to fucking Quebec to keep them from whining and crying?
Her saying they're still committed. In a quarterly earnings press conference on Tuesday in Japan, Chief Executive Toshiro Mibe said the company will look at where the electric vehicle market is in 2 years before deciding whether to keep going with the project. So when she says still committed, they're talking about 2 years from now. They're not talking about the next couple months. They're talking 2 years.
They're like, this is on pause. We will reevaluate in 730 days.
Correct. Okay. Like the separation movement, independence discussion.
Well, just
you don't want to get to that? What do you got?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Let's just go right into that. There's a whole bunch more. There's a whole bunch more stuff going on in the green. Basically, the green EV whole thing has just absolutely fucking fallen apart since the government buybacks went away. And people in the industry literally said that the lack of governments buying all the cars and them all going full electric aren't compatible for 2035. So that's it.
Okay. Separation or all the independence talk. Okay, there's a whole bunch of articles. I'm going to go to the recent polls that have been done. Come out and play. Yes to replacing
you keep them separated.
Yes to replacing the CPP with an Alberta pension plan. 55%. Yes, and then no and keep the CPP 45%. So 55% want to change out to an Alberta pension plan. The poll was conducted by Trend Research under the direction of the well-respected Janet Brown. And then a recent Angus Reid poll said 65% of Smith's UCP voters are committed to Alberta leaving Canada or leaning in that direction. Yeah, and then there was another poll that said the number who think the Alberta government.
I want you to go back to that bring up that Angus Reid tweet. Or here, I got it here. All right, here, I got it. Okay, so for those of you listening along, supposing Alberta does hold a referendum on secession, would you vote to leave Canada or stay? All respondents, stay 60%, leave 36%. UCP voters, oh, I screwed up the math on this. Never mind. I'm not going to make that point. Someone's going to fact check me, and I'm going to deservedly eat shit. Move along.
I was just going to say that the other one was the number who think the Alberta government should prepare a detailed plan on whether or not, what that would look like. 51%. So half the people who responded want a detailed plan on what that would even look like, right? Because you're starting to see a whole bunch of things come out in media saying, you'd be landlocked. You wouldn't have this. What are you going to do with your currency? You guys still using the passport? Like, just a whole bunch of questions. And so now the question's been put into a poll of like, well, do you think the Alberta government should explore this on what that would actually look like? And the people are saying, yes, we should have more information.
Yes, absolutely. And so the majority, not just a plurality, the majority of Albertans want to see what a secession plan would look like, which means they are at the very least kicking the tires, with the possible exception of Jan Arden. So I'm just going to play this for like 2 seconds because she's fucking insufferable.
How you doing? Feeling good about yourselves? You're an embarrassment to this country. Everything you have, everything that you have enjoyed, cherished, and benefited from comes from being part of one of the greatest countries on the planet.
No, it isn't. We fucking paid for it ourselves. So sit the fuck down, Randy from the fucking Trailer Park Boys, you cheeseburger eating motherfucker. Know what I'm saying? Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Cheeseburger.
Chief Executive AGCO says discussions around Alberta secession are already hurting in the investment climate. Nancy Southern said Asian
Oh,
partners.
no. Focus on that for a minute. Dive down. Did you read that article?
I did.
Okay. All right. What
Where?
was the gist of the article?
What? What? Get to your point, Twos. What are you trying?
All right. Here's the point: is that ATCO is saying that some Chinese investors who are thinking about investing in hydrogen technology in Alberta are holding off on a decision depending on what happens with possible secession. All right. Now, for those of you who don't follow this stuff closely, the hydrogen technology is in its infancy, unprofitable, and does not exist outside of government funding. And so people talking about how it's creating investor uncertainty. This isn't investor uncertainty. This is people who want a bunch of free shit from the government uncertainty. This is not a bad thing. Oh, a bunch of Chinese people who want to get a bunch of free fucking handouts from the government may not decide to set up shop in Alberta because if they do, they probably won't get a bunch of free shit from the government. Do these people who write these articles ever actually think things through and understand the implications of what in the great gray fuck they are talking about? I don't think so, Sean.
I was literally just about to say. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Two's hopped in. I'm literally going to read some. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Two's just summarized it. I'm glad that I'm back to the interruptions. Where I can't even read the. Did you even read it? I'm like, I'm about to read the article. But hey, Two's, you just summarized it beautifully. Thank you for that. Thank you for once again. I'm just so happy we're back to where we were about 10 episodes ago, where Two's just insufferably interrupts me all the time when I'm trying to literally tell the people what's in the article. But Two's, that's all right. Would you like to talk about Onion Lake next? Or would you like to, where would you like to go next that you would like to interrupt me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cat got your tongue now? Holy man.
Let's go to Onion Lake.
Onion Lake.
I don't think anybody's ever said that willingly before.
Onion Lake Cree Nation Chief Henry Lewis said that the law has always been about undermining federal authority and asserting provincial control, which goes against his community's Treaty 6 relationship with the Crown. Quoted, I want to respectfully remind the Premier that this land that we stand on today is treaty land and is not yours to take or make sweeping decisions about, he said at a news conference in Edmonton on Thursday. He announced the legal challenge is moving forward a day after Smith's government passed a bill significantly lowering the threshold for citizens to prompt a referendum, including on seceding from Canada.
Isn't it weird? Do you remember that conversation we were having about Onion Lake a couple weeks ago? I can't remember who we were having it with. And about how they're the ones who, it was them and one other band who just straight up refused to participate in the First Nations Financial Transparency Act. And they were some of the biggest advocates of the Liberal government. And they have a whole lot of oil and gas. And it seems a little bit weird that one of the Indian band or one of the reservations that probably had the most to gain from decreased disclosure of financials was so against it. And then here they are, the same people who could have potentially stood to gain some of the most from decreased transparency are now just picking a fight with Danielle Smith over something which looks like it could be on behalf of the federal government. Like, isn't it weird? Why is it when something happens, it's always you three? Harry Potter, same thing. Oh, it's the usual suspects.
Yeah, I told Tuz this. I would love to have some First Nations people on the podcast to talk about it. I think it'd be an interesting perspective. But yeah, it obviously the attacks have been coming from all sides on this conversation around independence, a referendum, and the discussion that continues to happen there. It's interesting to watch it all play out, and I don't think anybody thought it was going to be easy or that there wouldn't be attacks. There's going to be attacks, and this is just beginning. I can just imagine here as this thing continues to heat up. The APP had an event the day after, 2 days after the Cornerstone Forum in Calgary. Had 1,000 people show up. Actually, I think the number was closer to 1,200 when I did the math. So like, there's definitely interest in what the conversation is at right now. You might say it's red hot.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very so I'm driving down the road yesterday and I see this tire truck with 2 big Canada flags out the side of it, and it's called Convoy Commercial Tire. And I'm like, well, that's just fucking right on. And it's got a phone number on the side of it. So I call them out. So shout out to Convoy Commercial Tire. And if you need, this is a completely unsolicited plug for them. But if you need some tires in the Foothills area, 403-554-5209. Yeah, I just called them up to say, hey, I think you're awesome, and talked to them for like 10 minutes. And everybody just wants to talk about what separation would look like. There's so many people who are just straight up done with the status quo. And the only people who like Canada the way it is seem to be the ones who get rich off of Canada being the way it is.
Co-vindication this week. Yesterday, the Alberta court. No, this is a couple days ago now.
Oh, do you want to talk about the Lukaszuk petition?
Oh yeah, we could. Here, I'll bring that up on screen.
Mm-hmm.
There you go. Walk through it.
Okay, so it's hard to read here on this, but this app. So type of position, subject matter. He basically says that since referendum appears to be imminent anyway, it should be objective and not directed by special interest groups. Interesting, coming from Thomas Lukaszuk, the literal deputy premier during the Sky Palace days. Separation will threaten Canada as well as the Albertan economy, the personal wealth of Albertans, Canadian citizenship. Basically, his petition is saying we don't want separation. And so the way the Elections Act petitions go in Alberta is that if this petition goes out and it fails, it's 5 years before a similar petition can go out. And so it looks as though this guy, who is just enough arm's length to have some plausible deniability from being officially associated with the NDP, despite the fact that he's basically there in every way but name, is putting out this petition in hopes to basically strangle the opportunity to get a petition forward regarding a referendum on separation. Which I think is going to backfire horribly for him. And like, I get it. He doesn't have a lot of career prospects after all of the money he wasted on the phone bills when he was traveling internationally as a member of the Legislative Assembly, after the Sky Palace, all of that conservative in name only years under Alison Redford. You can't really trust it. Like, you can't give this guy a job anywhere. You can't have him figure out contracts at your company because he's obviously not good with money, all the way down to, like, you can't have him cash out the till at Burger King at the end of the day because you can't trust him with money. Right? Maybe you get him mopping the floor, and after a week or two, if he doesn't steal all the mop water every time, you get him on the fry. You get him as a fry cook. And then if he doesn't steal all the salt for another couple weeks, then maybe you start giving him some more responsibility. But that's basically his career prospects, because he's obviously somebody who willingly absconds fiduciary duty. So this is the grift. Go ahead.
Scott Moe, he's come out with a strong Saskatchewan, strong Canada plan, 10 key policy changes the federal government must make to reset Ottawa's relationship with Saskatchewan. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tews, but it looks very similar to Daniel Smith's, 9 key actionable points, correct?
Yep. Basically. And the thing about it is that none of them are unreasonable. And
correct.
So anyway, this is it. All anybody's saying, and it's interesting because on the one hand, it looks like another strongly worded letter. On the other hand, this actually looks, given the context it's in, as though these sort of things are laying the groundwork of saying, if Ottawa isn't going to work with us, then we need to figure out something else, right? Other interesting things of note. So this is from Mark Carney. breaking down trade barriers, building one united Canadian economy. And the article says that Ontario and Manitoba reach internal trade agreement, promise alcohol sales deal by end of June. Mark Carney presumably had nothing to do with this. This is Ontario and Manitoba figuring this out. And I think the Liberals are going to start seeing, you had Chrystia Freeland talking about how sexy the idea of opening up interprovincial trade is now in Canada. But they're missing the fact that what's happening is that the federal government is becoming more and more irrelevant.
Another one you had was this one. Do you agree that, because this got announced this week, the question, it was announced on the podcast when I had the APP on, do you agree that the province of Alberta shall become a sovereign country and cease to be a province of Canada? Twos, you had your thoughts on this.
Well, I look at it and I understand the meaning behind it. I imagine you do. I imagine everybody looking at this does. But the question isn't, is it a fair question? The question is it a question that some asshats in Ottawa can't nitpick to death in an attempt to invalidate the results? And that is, it's not, do we understand what's being asked? It's, is somebody, some mecha virgin bureaucrat in Ottawa going to find a loophole to say, no, throw it all out. You guys are stuck here and eat shit. And one of the things is that it has to be a single question. And so I get the fact that it's basically a single question. But do you agree that the province of Alberta shall become a sovereign country and cease to be a province of Canada? And you could maybe make a slight argument to say that becoming a sovereign country isn't the case of ceasing to be a province of Canada. And so technically they're very narrowly two questions. And so APP, I like what everybody, well, I like everybody's intent in terms of the separation.
You just want it to be, do you want to leave Canada? No, I mean, putting words in your mouth, but more like, do you want to leave Canada? Yes or no?
Yeah. Canada sucks. Yes, no. Whatever, right? Just something that's just totally unambiguous, not in the sense that we understand it, but just in the sense that some asshat bureaucrat cannot parse it into any sort of legal justification for throwing it out. So just to caution everybody out there, that's just my thought on it.
Co-vindication?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Co-vindication. The Alberta Court of Justice awarded severance to a former WestJet employee fired because she declined to take the COVID-19 vaccine. This decision may be the first in Canada to award severance to a non-unionized employee for being terminated rather than being placed on indefinitely for refusing the vaccine.
That's basically it right there.
That is it right there. Okay, rapid fire, shall we?
Sure.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this up. Here is Dimitris Soudis. He was the former director of comms for Harper. Okay. Basically, there's a whole bunch of video clips here. I'll just read the middle portion here. He says, the worst day of Carney government to date. The foreign minister blamed the Democratic State of Israel, not the terrorist group Hamas. The justice minister announced he's working from home and will be taking meetings on Zoom as though the justice system were a tech startup. The heritage minister has nothing to do with pipelines, publicly contradicted the prime minister on energy policy. What's next? Will he put a Canadian flag on a barrel of oil and call it culture? And then there's the housing minister who made it clear that making homes more affordable just isn't priority for him.
Yes, I want to just show this real. Oh. I hate the way I've got to take yours off to put mine on, but
affordable housing. Delivering that. Need to go down. No, I think that we need to deliver more supply.
So does the cost of housing need to go down? No, we need to deliver more supply. Now, for those of you who are liberal and just tuned into this accidentally, the price is determined by supply and demand. So if you're going to increase the supply, assuming the demand is constant, then the price will go down. His answer is to provide more affordable housing, which is basically the modular box stuff, the bullshit, the C-can houses that get split up into just tiny little pods. and that he does not actually want to see house prices go down, but he wants to make it more accessible. So the only way that you can make things more affordable while the price remains the same is if the value of the currency is decreased. So the only way that what he's saying makes sense is if the government prints off a whole bunch of money. That's the only way to do what he's saying. The two things that he's saying to have happen at the same time, for the prices to stay the same and become more affordable, the money has to become worth less. So this guy is a fucking idiot.
On Tuesday, Sanic Police said that on February 15th, 2024, Special Investigation Section officers arrested 36-year-old Marnie Burnham, who also taught under the name Marnie Foreign, and has since been charged with 5 offenses. The charges under the criminal code include 3 counts of sexual exploitation and 2 counts of telecommunication to lure a child under 18.
Yes. So she was, the ironic thing is that usually it's like you remember that episode of South Park where the kindergarten teacher was having an affair with Ike?
No, I was never a South Park guy.
It basically predicted everything that happened. This is a 2nd grade teacher. Now, Ike was in kindergarten, sleeping with his kindergarten teacher. Okay. This is slightly different. It's
Slightly.
She was a 2nd grade teacher, but she was sleeping with a bunch of high school kids. And so, anyway, she's not a smoke show. She's not one of those ones where like, you guys need to see how hot this is. But she's pretty cute. Or at least she looks pretty cute in that. And so, anyway. Yeah.
She's an adult too. Sleeping
She is
with
an adult. She is an adult. And here's the thing about it is I have this theory that the reason why this was never, issue, possibility, whatever you want to call it, when we were going to school, is that the teachers didn't feel obligated to talk about sex all the time in schools. You're learning about Marcus Aurelius. You're learning about trigonometry. You're not, hi, my name's blah, 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 and here are the particular type of genitals that I like goofing around with. And maybe if we quit that mentality in the schools, we'd have a few more instances of teachers banging their students.
If she was, let's just say 22 and the kid was just turning 18 and it was 1, I could maybe kind of agree with you. I could maybe be like, okay. All right. She's 36. She's my age, essentially. Sleeping with kids that are kids. I don't care what you're about. I don't care what you're about to say. This is the most ridiculous thing. And it's not 1, it's 5 counts. Screw off with your whole story about, it's messed up. It's just messed up. Adults do better. Calgary's mayor is pushing the province to bring back photo radar, saying it was never just a cash grab, which it is, but instead a life-saving tool. The province announced in December 2024 it would do away with photo radar on all provincial highways and connectors, restricting its to use in school zones, playground zones, and construction zones, and eliminating it from speeding enforcement by intersection safety devices. The changes went in effect on April 1st. Now, here's Mayor Jody Gondak. She said, a young man died in a high-speed rollover. A 16-year-old boy was struck in a crosswalk and left with life-altering injuries, and a paramedic was injured while responding to a collision caused by a stolen vehicle. And a skateboarder was hit by a cement truck. And she says, we are now seeing the consequences of the province's decision to take away photo radar.
Mm-hmm. Now, the high-speed rollover that killed somebody was on Stony Trail, which never, ever had photo radar installed on it. One of them was a hit and run. So I feel like a speeding ticket's kind of the least of your worries at that moment. And then I didn't actually think to double check whether any of the other places actually had speed trap cameras in them at any point. Not this last election that Edmonton had, but the one before that. I want to say his name was like Mike Nickel. He was basically running on a, let's put the speed trap cameras in places with high accidents rather than because where the speed trap cameras wasn't where the high accident rates were.
Sure.
It was where they had the highest probability of catching the most amount of people doing something that was technically out of bounds. which tells you right there that it's not actually about saving lives. It's about making the most amount of money. Because if you say this intersection here has 1,000 accidents in it a year, and this one has 50. Okay, well, we're going to put it in the one with 50. Because if it goes in the 1,000 accidents a year, it's going to make $30,000. And if it goes in the 50 accidents a year one, it's going to make $7 million. Well, obviously, you've decided that the $7 million is more important than the 1,000 accidents. So we're not the ones diminishing the importance of photo radar, Jody Gondek. You asshats are.
The CBC's board of directors says the Crown Corporation will no longer pay individual bonuses to employees. The board says in a statement it will discontinue what CBC refers to as a performance pay and adjust salaries of affected staff to compensate them. The move comes after the public broadcasters was criticized for paying out millions in bonuses after eliminating hundreds of jobs.
Now, this is important. All right. See, bonuses are, in theory, a reward for executing well. Okay. But at the executive level, it's this expected part of your compensation. I'm expecting to get this annual bonus in February of $1 million or $250,000 or whatever. And so they said, okay, well, you know what? We keep catching hell for all of these bonuses. So we're going to get rid of bonuses. And so all the money that you would have made that is in theory tied to performance now becomes part of your salary. So there's not only are they just fudging the numbers, just like, well, we're just going to call it salary rather than a bonus. But also now it's removed any semblance of an expectation for any degree of high execution.
On first glance, you're like, oh, they're removing the bonuses. Great. And then you read it and you're like, wait a second, they're just pushing that into their salary.
Well, that's exactly it. CBC to stop paying individual bonuses to
great.
employees
Looks
after
great.
controversy. Oh, well, that's great. You know what a more accurate headline would be? CBC rolls bonuses into salaries, removes them from semblance of competence requirement.
I would agree. Another Canada post strike or work stoppage could start as soon as next week, and Canadian business owners say they're worried about tough times ahead. The Canadian Union of Postal Workers and Canada Post appear to be unable to find common ground in negotiations with 1 week left to the deadline to avoid work stoppage as the Canadian economy tries to navigate through a challenging trade war with the United States. The deadline to reach an agreement is May 22nd, which is the earliest workers could walk off the job.
Oh, no. This is horrible. This is sad news, Sean. I'm absolutely crestfallen at the prospect of not being able to get my fucking packages and letters. Like, if Canada Post goes on strike, who's going to deliver all the Amazon packages and the FedEx packages and the DHL packages and the UPS packages and the Purolator packages? This completely irrelevant buggy whip manufacturer of a fucking Crown Corporation is gonna walk off the job. Here's the question: is just how long till anybody notices? Because the only people who do notice are people who are like, you know, small time Shopify people and things like that, who say, well, I need that because it's so much cheaper than the alternatives. But what they're actually saying is, I need the government, which is us. I need the taxpayer money to subsidize my fledgling business. Well, congratulations. You're now a fucking hydrogen company wanting to work with ATCO in Alberta.
Okay, this is new. You just want the headlines, correct? For the next little portion here.
Well, you're
here we go.
skipping ahead a tiny bit.
Why did you add it? You added in more. You added in more? All right.
Well, you weren't past it yet, so I think you were skipping around. So exclusive. Smith appoints by-election candidate to replace outgoing MLA in Olds, Didsbury, Three Hills. So it appears that Cooper is stepping down. I saw that Rick McIver was the new speaker the other day. So anyway, there's no free and fair election. Danielle Smith has decided who the new MLA is going to be, not the constituency association. And, for everybody saying you need to get involved with your constituency association, you need to get involved at the local level, you need to be more proactive in terms of being part of the democratic process. To which I would point to this and say, what exactly democratic fucking process are you talking about here? So when people are like, well, nobody wants to get into politics. Nobody wants to get involved. They just want to get mad about it. This is exactly why.
All right, here's some headlines from around the different places. Globe and Mail opinion: what do encampments offer that shelters don't? A chance to build community.
Yeah, that's a great fucking headline. And in Canada's housing crisis, are modular homes a cheaper and faster solution? Come on, guys. Like, I get it. I get it. You want us to own nothing and be happy, and you pay the journalists to write your things for you.
CTV, milk bar with breast milk opens at Edmonton Hospital.
Ooh, you're skipping a whole bunch here.
Well, that's because you probably added things in after I was through it.
Okay.
I'm just doing what you had, sir.
Okay. All right. Nate Erskine Smith announced retirement from federal politics in January, saying, I love my family more than anything, and I plan to stay closer to home. He was one of the rats fleeing the sinking ship of the week back in the day. And then he got made housing minister. So then he decided he was going to run again. And so then he said, okay, well, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he won. And then he wasn't named a cabinet minister and did a huge boo-hoo, poor me thing on Twitter. Just sounded like a big baby. This is awesome. So Swan River, Manitoba, northwestern Manitoba, right on the border, basically. So anyway, Manitoba to regulate EV charge stations. This is in the Manitoba Free Press. John Solisnik is questioning why a Dodge Chrysler dealership charged him $681.36 for plugging in his vehicle for 1 hour and 53 minutes. Kolisnik says he doesn't understand why the dealership is charging the exorbitant costs, so much so that it would have been cheaper to spend 3 nights at an area hotel, which has a vehicle charge included in the room rate. Nobody will use the charger if they charge that, he said. Gary Ashauer, the owner of Redline Dodge Chrysler, said that's actually the point. I don't want people to use it, he said, noting it cost him $86,000 for the charger. Every time someone uses it, he says it costs him more. I was forced to buy this EV charger by the manufacturer, and we sell 0 EVs in our marketplace. For most businesses, you want a return on your investment. It's going to take me 10 lifetimes to get a return. I got to switch to the... it's going to take me 10 lifetimes to get a return on this investment. He said Kalinske called twice before coming to Swan River and was told in advance how much the charge would cost. We made it very clear that this is what it cost to charge. He knew exactly what he was signing up for. It also says right on the machine that what the price is per minute, and it says right on the app where the price is per minute. There is no way he couldn't have known. Ashauer says only 4 people have charged their vehicles in the 10 months since it has been installed, and he has earned a total of $4.12 during the first 3 months of the year. This is the government.
You want to show the baby shark video? Or do you just want me to comment?
I just got a couple more. Okay, Chrystia Freeland returns as Minister of Transport and International Trade.
Speed it up,
Trade, which is oddly fitting because this picture, you will remember, was done in 2015. She is now the Minister of Transport, and the photo they're using for her is almost old enough to get its own driver's license. Local official calls police on residents seeking public government records. Sunbury, York South, Chief Administrative Officer facing charges for obstructing access to public documents. There was a whole bunch of weird shit going on with this new facility outside of New Brunswick that was being built. And so some people went to the town office and said, hey, can we see the documents? And she said, no, get the hell out. I'm calling the cops. And so the cops had to go there and they're like, oh, well, wait, what? So these people want to see public access, public record documents. Yes. And you don't want them to see it. Correct. And so you want us to arrest them. Yes, that's correct. But it turns out that this greasy bitch was covering up for a bunch of purchases at Costco, Amazon. They were buying like cheese, coffee pods, and this was all supposed to be money going to the construction of this facility. And so not only was she way the hell out of line in someone going in and saying, hey, can I see these public documents? No. But also, it turns out there was a bunch of tomfoolery happening at the same time. Okay. Here's a license plate in Quebec. So I don't know what Jamie Souviens means, but the license plate says anal boy. So that was a bit of a typo. I know why you were trying to skip past all this. Now it all makes sense.
World, I have the honor of saying the starting lineup. Up front, Max Jones, Adam Enrique, Kasperi Kapanen.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? Mark Carney unveiling new footage of him spending time with the Edmonton Oilers. It's weird that you skipped right ahead to the first one after that. The first one after that, Sean. Why did you skip ahead to the first one after that? And then you were trying to gaslight me, saying that I'm crazy, We just need to move on. Speed it up, Stu. Speed it up. Well, now it all makes sense. So let's get to you've been quiet there lately, Sean, but
I don't know if you noticed, but the Oilers are heading to the conference finals again, twos. How are those Flames doing?
Roughly the same.
Oh, roughly the same. I doubt that. Edmonton Oilers moving on to the conference finals. Shout out to the Winnipeg Jets for extending the series. I hope it could be an all-Canadian Western final, but they got their work cut out for them. So, Oh,
you don't think they're going to run into Toronto in the finals?
Do you think Toronto's winning tonight?
No.
How much are Toronto fans just beside themselves right now?
Well, considering there's only like 2 of them left, probably.
Okay. CTV Milk Bar with breast milk opens at Edmonton Hospital.
What a misleading fucking article.
You got David Eby saying BC is ready to be Canada's economic engine.
Okay, I want to cover this real quick. So this is David Eby. BC is ready to be Canada's economic engine in the Vancouver Sun. British Columbians have always stepped up when it mattered most. Now's our time to build again. We don't have a moment to waste. With external threats to our sovereignty and prosperity, we must strengthen our economy and create good jobs and blah, blah, blah. We introduced new laws to fix this. These bills will give us tools to accelerate priority projects like transmission lines that power economic growth. You seriously need fucking expediting on building power lines? And so, there's these bullet points. Kids learning in modern classrooms and students moving on to affordable campus housing sooner. What a weird article. Did you notice the byline? Did you see who wrote this?
No, I actually didn't see who wrote it.
David Eby wrote this article, Sean. The premier wrote this article entitled BC is ready to be Canada's economic engine. You know what, David Eby? I write the jokes around here. Leave it to me.
Show the video. Do you got the video up of the guy who put up the speaker playing Baby Shark? We've seen this in stairwells in a couple different places. Here's
I don't know if it's Baby Shark though.
It was Baby Shark. It was Baby Shark.
Well, this is Baby Shark, but I don't know.
No. Back then it was Baby Shark too. Okay. Yeah, it was Baby Shark. It was the kid's song on repeat.
Install the speaker to try and get rid of the homeless encampment here with Baby Shark on repeat. You gotta be kidding me, bro.
Yeah. So
I've heard that song once or twice.
People doing everything they can to get the homeless people to just move along, just move along, just move along.
More than 2,000 U.S. based Starbucks baristas go on strike to protest new dress code.
Yes, the dress code is that they need to wear black, dark blue, or brown underneath their aprons. And they're going on strike because of a dress code, which gives them several options. They're just like, basically, I feel like Starbucks has decided that being as gay as possible is probably hurting their bottom line. And they're like, okay, well, how can we tone this down a little bit? Well, rather than have people wear a bunch of gay stuff and it's just always in your face, we'll go to being professional. We're just going to be professional. And they're going on strike over that.
Taco Bell heads to Ireland.
Hear from all these tough cunts who think nothing is spicy. I think bread is spicy.
So, yeah.
The video is actually quite fun.
It's a hell of a good video.
Yeah. Pull it back up, too. Or did you already exit out of it? Pull it back up.
Should we watch the whole video?
Yeah, show the video.
Okay,
It's
all right.
fantastic.
Okay, move it along. It goes from move it along.
I was moving along. You were
because you were scared
of your voice. Then you get the guy who show the video.
Taco Bell in Ireland. We're frightened. Is it spicy? And I don't want to hear from all these tough cunts who think nothing is spicy. I think bread is spicy. I could use a jalapeno to heat up my home. I'm just a simple Irishman. I've never had a quesadilla before. I'm excited, to be honest. It looks very nice. I just have one question. What is this? Is this petrol? Should I get a hard or a soft shell taco? What would you recommend for a beginner? I know Taco Bell is very standard for Americans, but to us, this is very exotic cuisine. This is probably the most exotic thing to happen in Ireland since we got condoms in the 90s. Nobody knew what to do with them. That's how I ended up here in the first place. And I'm finding myself equally confused by tacos. What sort of sauces do they have? I like mayonnaise and coleslaw. They're my favorites. I'm very excited. Follow me. I'm delicious.
I think he would have been a great mashup guest. A great mashup guest. Oh, man.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I feel bad that I didn't even think of it.
Man jailed for 222 bogus returns at New Brunswick Staples after asking for house arrest to avoid deportation.
He was an assistant manager of some kind, and this was elaborate. He was like turning off the cameras. He figured out like paths where he could stay out of the view of the cameras, and he stole like $90,000 worth of shit from one Staples store. He was fucking around with inventory counts. He was returning people's stuff, and they only found out because someone went to return a gaming chair, and they said, well, we can't give you a refund. We've already given you a refund. And they said, well, that's impossible. How do I still have the chair? And he said, well, we don't know, but we can't give you your money back. And they said, the fuck you can't. Give me my money back. Take the chair. And they said, we already gave you your money back. No, it turns out that guy got the money and $90,000 other money. And he got sentenced to, I think, 15 months behind bars, which is over the 6 months behind bars, which requires him to be deported afterwards. And Staples was able to get 25,000 of it back. But the worst part, 222 bogus returns. 222. What a jerk.
It's been 317 days since Alberta had an opposition leader without a seat.
Yes. All right. Let's read that again really slowly. It has been 317 days since Alberta has had an opposition leader without a seat. That's not true. What it actually should have said, if you spoke English or were an effective English communicator, it would have said, to be accurate, it has been 317 days since Alberta has had an opposition leader with a seat. Now, can you do me a favor and just click on her profile real quick?
Yeah.
What is her profession?
Writer.
These are the people. These are the people.
Vancouver named happiest city in North America in a new global ranking.
Yes. So Vancouver, you may remember from last week.
One second. NDP are not a serious party. Yes, I agree. No.
Yes, the NDP
Carry
are
on.
not a serious party. All right. Now, Vancouver last week is counting on the goodwill of poop fairies to go around scooping up all of the human shit on the sidewalks because it has reached an epidemic of shit. There is shit everywhere. This place is so full of shit that they can't even function. People are stepping in it, tripping on it. Everything's getting gooey between your toes. All of this human shit everywhere because everybody is high on crack all the time and can't get jobs because they're too busy shitting everywhere on the sidewalks.
Big, dirty shithogs.
And apparently, it's also the second happiest city in the world, which would make sense because everybody they talked to was probably blazed out of their fucking minds.
We haven't played that clip in a long time.
Oh, dude, I can see.
Show the video of the left arguing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. So this is beauty. I don't even know if this happened right away or not. It's just too good not to share.
This is a perfect example of how the left reacts when they're losing an argument.
Gave cover to Al-Qaeda and who said that gays deserve to be punished. This is who Hillary Clinton had 3 rows behind her, and Sadiq Mateen says he was invited.
Do not try to equate the mistake that was made by her campaign staff. And wait a minute. No, you can't ask me a question.
Because you can't answer the question.
Oh, you can't ask me a question, honey. I can't answer.
What attracted the father of the Orlando to your candidate?
He's a mentally ill individual who ran for president.
I get it.
Pardon me?
What attracted him to your candidate? And your answer was he's mentally ill.
His answer that stop smiling and smirking like it's a funny thing.
It is a funny thing. It's straight up hilarious.
Put up the happy news, Twos. Let's do some happy news.
We got multiple instances of happy news.
Okay. Yeah, more than 300 Toronto speed cameras have been vandalized this year, city officials report. You know, that always warms Two's heart, you know.
Oh, no. That's completely in there by accident. That shouldn't be in there at all, Sean. We at the Mashup do not condone vandalism of speed cameras, and definitely not more than 300 of them. If you're vandalizing one speed camera per day in one Canadian city, that is absolutely reprehensible, and I think you need to stop immediately. Do not vandalize speed cameras. Do not cut them down. Do not spray paint mean things on them like tacks or scrap. Do not, under any circumstances, spray paint over the lens so that cameras cannot film the vehicles driving by at excessive speeds or speeds that the government has determined excessive. This is, I'm sorry, everybody, Sean, everybody listening. This absolutely should not have been in the happy news. We're going to talk to the people on the copy desk about this. What's the next happy news?
The happy news is Czech citizens rally to pay off travel debt of 99-year-old American World War II hero Harry, who served with General George Patton's Third Army during World War II, helped liberate Frankfurt, Germany. And it goes on, thanks to efforts of Czech historian and PhD candidate Yuri Kluk, Harry was invited to the 2025 Pilsen Liberation Festival in Czech Republic as an honored guest. His daughter, Linda, launched a GoFundMe campaign to help cover costs of a once-in-a-lifetime trip. But when the fundraiser fell short, she was forced to take out a loan using her father's savings to make the trip possible. After the Czech news outlet Seznam Zapravi shared Harry's story, the dormant GoFundMe page was flooded with donations, and the grateful Czech citizens in just hours, the 20,000 goal was surpassed. And then Twos, if you're showing the pictures of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy got invited to go to Europe to commemorate the things he did to help liberate the country, and his GoFundMe didn't reach the right audience, didn't reach enough of an audience, and it was falling short. And so they were using his savings and taking out a loan to cover the trip. And then when the story got ran by the local people who live in the communities that he helped save in World War II, Boom. Instantly. The money was there and then some.
Yeah, it's that's happy news, man. Right there, right there's all the pictures of it. That's pretty cool. So, community notes. Yeah, I got one on this side. The APP Alberta Prosperity Project is coming to Lloydminster May 22nd, 7 p.m. That's next Thursday, or this coming Thursday. My apologies, at the Lloyd X. So if you're interested in hearing about what they're doing. There's that. Alberta John. How you doing, John? He's listening from New Mexico. Shout out to Alberta John. Is there any other community notes you got?
I got nothing.
All right.
I mean, we kind of cleared them up over the last couple of weeks, believe it or not.
Yeah, believe it or not.
Oh, look at this. Thanks to Michelle Krieger, I'm wearing a mashup shirt this morning.
Well,
nice.
Michelle won tickets. Forgive me, Michelle, because I won't get the hours right, but she won tickets on Friday morning, right? That's when we gave those tickets. And then her, and forgive me, is it Sarah? Oh man, I should have known this. Two of them got in a vehicle and they drove over 10 hours to get there for Saturday morning.
Oh yeah.
Like, think about that. That's pretty wild. So shout out to some of our faithful listeners for coming all this way. And Renee's got a community note. If in Saskatoon, head to the PAC of U of S for skipping nationals.
Jump rope.
Oh, skipping nationals. Thank you.
Yeah. It's not that they're going to skip on nationals the way Trudeau skipped out on Parliament and question period.
That is, I mean, twos. It's, it feels, I don't know. We've been, it's not like we disappeared or anything, but certainly it's been a stretch from the 12-hour live coverage till now. And Mashup 158 in the books. As people know, we're here every Friday, 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. We appreciate you hopping in with us again. And twos.
I was just gonna say the same thing. It's nice to have you back. And to Lisa, to our favorite Swiftie listener, just reach out with some details with Sean, and we'll get this coming out to you. I don't make it up to Athabasca so much anymore, so it's going to have to be in the mail.
All right, folks. Next week, 159. We'll catch you then. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to share with a friend, and we will catch up to you next week. Twos, till then, have a great weekend, folks.
See you, buddy.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Tell me whether I'm wrong or right. East or west, up or down, side to side. I sit to stand and fall to fly. Of all of my impulsive plans, pop and lock and salsa dances on demand. I follow leading off the map and stop the chatter, scream happily.
Welcome to the Mashup.
Welcome to the mashup. Welcome to the